Good morning, everybody. At the outset, let me say a few words about this program. This is an online course in English grammar and pronunciation. It is designed in such a way that it may be useful for all kinds of people like students, teachers, professionals, business executives, candidates appearing for competitive exams like bank test, PSC exams, and also those who have the desire to improve their language skills. The program has two parts. Part 1 deals with the study of grammar, and Part 2 deals with the study of pronunciation. As you all know, English is not just the language of England, but a global language. In other words, it has attained the status of an international language. It is used as the first language in countries like England, America, Canada, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, etc. And it is studied as a second language in almost all other parts of the world. That itself is an evidence to show that it is a simple language. But there are some people who say that it is difficult to learn English. They have their own arguments. They say its spelling is confusing, its pronunciation is more confusing, its grammar is complicated, and it has a number of words that we do not know. But it is not as difficult as they argue. In fact, it is easy to learn English. Now, in spite of the so-called difficulties, more than 14 million people in different parts of the world use English. And my attempt here is to make it easier for you. For that, you have to do what I ask you to do. One thing, try to attend all my classes. Number 2, listen to good English every day. If possible, listen to the BBC. 3, you must read something in English, the newspaper or journal or anything you like to read. Next one, you must talk to somebody in English, and you must try to write some English. If you do all these things, you can attain proficiency in English very soon. Everything depends on your interest. If you have genuine interest and if you make some effort on your part, you can easily master this language. Now, with these words, I would like to start my first grammar class. Usually, in my first class, I ask my students a few questions. My first question is to spell the word grammar, because I know several people committing spelling mistake when they write the word grammar. Now, what is the right spelling of the word? Grammar. So always remember the correct spelling of the word, grammar. Now my second question is to pronounce the word. How would you pronounce the word grammar? Most of the people pronounce the word as grammar. Some say grammar. What is the actual pronunciation of the word grammar? Grammar. The first vowel sound is a sound, the same sound you find in the words cat, cat, bat, mat, mat. The same a sound is there in the word grammar. Not grammar, but grammar. And again remember, the letter R has no pronunciation at the end of words and also before consonant sounds. So the letter R at the end of this word is mute, silent. Now let me come to my third question, perhaps the most important question. What is grammar? Usually when I ask this question, my students keep mum. It reminds me of a statement made by somebody in some other context. If not asked, I know. If you ask me, I know not. The same is the condition of my question. If not asked, I know. If I do not ask them this question, they think they know the answer. If I ask them the question, they say they do not know. Now let me try to explain the term grammar. In every language, there will be a set of rules. If somebody wants to use that language or communicate in that language, he has to use or he has to observe those rules. The body of rules that establishes what is right and what is wrong in a language is called its grammar. Right? The body of rules that establishes what is right and what is wrong in a language is called its grammar. Each language would have its own grammar. English has got its own grammar, Hindi has got its own grammar. All the languages have these kinds of rules. This definition of grammar is given by the traditional grammarians. Who are the traditional grammarians? So what is meant by traditional grammar? The grammar of 18th, 19th and early 20th century can be called traditional grammar. The grammarians of those periods prescribed certain rules to be followed in English, and their grammar is called prescriptive grammar. The most important book on prescriptive grammar is the one written by Wren and Martin. P.C. Wren and H. Martin together have written a book entitled High School Grammar and Composition. It was this book prescribed everywhere in the world for the study of English. All the students and teachers of English carried a copy of this book with them, and it was their Bible. But now the situation has changed altogether. Now, in the later part of the 20th century, some linguists came forward and questioned the traditional grammarians. They say that most of the definitions given by traditional grammarians are incomplete or incorrect. Some go to the extent of saying that they are irrational, unscientific, etc., etc. And what do? These modern grammarians do? They observe how the educated native speakers speak the language or write the language, and make the necessary changes in the grammatical rules. Their approach to the study of grammar is called descriptive grammar. So the old grammar is called prescriptive grammar and modern grammar is called descriptive grammar. Now, if you study only traditional grammar, prescriptive grammar, then you won't be aware of the changes made now and then. Grammatical rules may sometimes change with the passage of time. You won't be aware of such changes. If you are not aware of such changes, what will happen? Your language will be considered ungrammatical, unacceptable. So it is better to study both. You can study traditional grammar, at the same time you must be aware of the changes happening in the rules of grammar. Then you will be able to speak or write English without mistakes. Now I would like to bring your notice or attention to a well-known definition of the term grammar given by a modern grammarian. His name is Paul Roberts. He is a modern American grammarian. He defines grammar as sentence producing mechanism. A very simple definition. Anyone can easily remember that definition. What is grammar? Sentence producing mechanism is called grammar. He also points out that grammar has some three major divisions, namely syntax, semantics, and phonology. Now let me ask you a question. Suppose you do not know English. You buy a dictionary, study the spelling and meaning of all the words in the dictionary. Do you think you can speak or write correct English? I don't think. For example, I say, their book on is the table. If I utter these words together, can you make out anything? You cannot. But if you are asked to make a sentence using these words, you will easily say, there is a book on the table. What did you do here? You actually arranged the words in a proper order. And if you want to arrange the words in a proper order, you must know some principles regarding sentence construction. For example, you must know which word must come first, what should be the next word, etc., etc. So syntax means the arrangement of words in a sentence or the principles regarding sentence construction. Now let me come to the next word, semantics. Suppose somebody says, there is a book on the table. If you want to understand something, you must know what a book is. You must know the meaning of the word table. Otherwise, you won't be able to make out anything. So, semantics means meaning. Phonology means pronunciation. We can discuss it in detail in our part 2 classes. So, what is grammar? According to traditional grammarians, yes, grammar is a set of rules. According to modern grammarians, sentence producing mechanism is called grammar. It has three parts: syntax, semantics, and phonology. Syntax means the arrangement of words in a sentence or the principles of sentence construction. Semantics means meaning and phonology means pronunciation. So now before I conclude, every day I would like to bring to a notice one or two common errors and suggest some remedial measures. Today I would like to say something about the word discuss. Very often people commit mistake when they use this word. For example, if somebody says, they discussed about the spread of coronavirus. Is that sentence grammatically acceptable? You might have heard some people saying so, but it is not a correct English sentence. There is something wrong with that sentence. What's the mistake there? You must not say they discussed about the spread of coronavirus. You can only say they discussed the spread of coronavirus. After the word discuss, you must not use any preposition. No preposition is required after the word discuss. Some people use the word about, some people use the word on. Both are equally wrong. But if you are using the noun form of the word discussion, there must be a preposition after that. They discussed, or there was a discussion about the spread of coronavirus, or there was a discussion about the narrative techniques used in that poem. So, if you use the verb discuss, no preposition. If you use the noun form, you can use a preposition. It is necessary. Now, one more thing I would like to say. Now, somebody asked me the other day, I hear several advertisements now. Some say, stay home and be safe. Some others say, stay at home and break the chain. Which one is correct? Stay home or stay at home? That was the question put to me. You know, stay at home is the correct British usage. Stay home is an American practice. And so, both are acceptable, but we follow British English. Therefore, it is better to say stay at home. Thank you.